substantial amount of it, end it at a point where it makes sense, and then still have people waiting for the next.
Right. No, I mean, I think it's brilliant. Very well thought out. So any major lessons you've learned, over time, given that this is your second book, but it's the third book that your company, Story Sure Media,
Yes.
has put out, right?
Yes, yeah.
Must have been lots of lessons learned along the way,
Yes.
things to do, things not to.
Oh, a ton. Yes. Yeah. But I will say the major ones for me, I put out The Perfect Girl in 2014. And, I've learned so much. There's so much. And there's so much that's out there on the internet about what to do when you're publishing. But I just learned, wow, how to make a bestseller. I actually should teach a course on that. I don't feel like I should give out that information just all in this interview. But yeah, there's a strategy to making, I will say, to making a New York Times bestseller, there's a strategy, which I can't afford right now, but we can talk about the economics in some other video. But how to make an Amazon best-selling novel. There is definitely a strategy. It's not dumb luck. Yeah. I learned that, and with my first book, I didn't even realize there was such a thing, so I didn't even check my rankings to even see what it was, but I'm pretty sure, who knows, maybe it was at some point, but I'm very proud to say that Strange Women was the first best-selling novel on Amazon under the Story She Wrote stable, and that wasn't due to any strategizing on my point, it just was what it was, but it comes down to a lot of times category, the way you categorize your work, and of course it has to be well thought out, and it has to be accurate as well, because if they find it in a different category, you can't say you're writing a Christian novel and you're not. But yeah, so I learned how to make a bestseller, and that was really important to me because that was a goal of mine. I had that on my vision board early. I was like best-selling, Amazon bestseller, and it happened. Fun to Happy went from number 10 to number 6 to number 4 to number 1.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So that was a big deal for me. And I also have learned, I do all my writing in longhand. I've learned that is really not the way to go. It's not
I don't
smart.
know how you managed to do that.
I don't know how I didn't learn this lesson sooner, but yes, it is very inefficient. And though it feels good too, but yeah, you must type out your work the first time. It just saves you and everyone else a lot of grief. And I've also learned a lot about marketing, and a lot of my marketing strategies I think have gotten better. And I've learned about my fan base and who your fans really are, and I will leave this little nugget. Your family and friends are not your fans. No, they will support you and they should support you, but that's not when you're counting your fans. Those are not, your fans. Your fans are people who really don't know you and just buy your book because they went and they sought out books in that category. So it's an important lesson to learn so that, your ego doesn't get in the way. There are no hurt feelings, and you just have to have a business mind about it, So yeah, so let's switch over to you.
Yeah.
I want to ask you the same question.
Okay.
So, finished your first book, published it. What lessons have you learned?
Speaking of a business mind, that's the note you ended on. Well, I've always known that I don't have one. And, I still don't feel like I have one, but I think the whole idea of this all sort of being linked to business is becoming a bit more interesting to me. So I don't have it down pat by any means, right? But I am understanding that, there is a business angle that's kind of difficult to ignore. It sounds kind of cliche because you've probably said it before and I've probably read it before or something, but it's like, they say writing a book is actually the easiest part, and I understand that now because it was the easiest part for me. And once you've written it, you don't produce something for nothing, right? You produce something for a particular purpose. You want people to read it. So getting that book into people's hands once you're done with it requires there's a whole other field of knowledge, right? And this is something that, I'm still, kind of trying to learn about. It would be nice if you could just write a book and the book would sell itself and you could just go back into your, go back to your life. Yeah, but that actually doesn't happen. And so there are a number of different things that you need to be prepared to invest in, invest time in. For instance, here I am, a media shy person, but I'm going to have to do interviews, starting next month or so. Would I rather not do it? Yeah, I'd rather not do it. I'd rather people just come get the book, right? But that would be doing a disservice to a book, which I feel that, does need to get out there, right? So there are certain things that you have to be prepared to, kind of invest in.
Yes.
But I've also learned that, if you have something in you that needs to get done, just get it done, right? Because I have no business acumen whatsoever. But sort of like just by putting a product out there, opportunities begin to find you. You know what I mean? They begin to find you just because you've written a little something. Somebody reads it and it clicks with them, and they feel the need to connect you to someone else so that you can do X, Y, Z. The way that the things just happen, those kinds of things don't happen unless you sort of have something in your hands. That's right? True. So, of course, these are things that we all sort of know. But in terms of...
You have to hear it vocalized.
Yeah, you do. You do. But when it comes to writing books specifically, you write one and it has a ripple effect, is, what I'm just, seeing. It has a ripple effect. And I am still finding the whole process very exciting, even despite my ignorance and so on and so forth. I think it's really exciting just to see how things continue to unfold. It's exciting to have fun, to build something around something that's really just a hobby, right? I still find it very gratifying, when someone talks about how, I've read your book, or... could you come write something, for my whatnot? Maybe it could be a magazine or whatnot. Would you like to have your own column? So on and so forth. Those are things that don't just happen, right? You do something first, and then ripples are created around it. So
yeah, that's such a great point. Yeah, like I remember telling someone, I read this somewhere. Is it Laura? Yeah, Lara Casey. She's a great woman writer. She says, "Done is better than perfect."
That's right.
And I really believe, and that really speaks to my cluttered, and my really cluttered, right? I'm not very organized, but yeah, done is better than perfect.
Right.
You may not have a perfect book. I don't think most writers are perfectionists about their own work. You never think it's perfect, but once it's done, at least you have something. You can do something with it.
Yeah.
And also another lesson. Sorry, I forgot. This is really important. I learned to put value on what I do. Just because something comes easy to you doesn't mean that it doesn't have value, and it doesn't mean people shouldn't pay for it. For the longest time I'd give away, sometimes in this thing, promotion, advertising, you have to give away, you might have to give away free copies of whatever, but I just found it didn't make people appreciate it more. It actually made them appreciate it less, because they hadn't paid for it, and they felt they were doing you a favor by even reading it, and then some would not even review it or whatever. So in the end, I don't feel it was a good use of my my resources, like giving out free resources. So it didn't, like, you can't buy people's what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what I'm trying to say is, always, if you feel your work is worth a certain value, stick to it. I'm not saying make it unrealistic, but people should pay for it, because if not, people just assume it's your hobby. They don't think you're trying to make a living, or they don't understand, like, it's your work. Just because this is not your first job, it is still a job. A lot of time and energy goes into putting out work. So people should not expect to receive that work for free. I think.
Good word.
Yeah.
One other thing I forgot to mention about Strange Women is that as a result of the book launch, The book is now in bookstores in Nairobi. Not all bookstores, but a major bookstore, which is called Keswick, which is everyone in Nairobi should know Keswick Christian bookstores. And hopefully more stores will carry it. There's something I'm sort of trying to work on to ensure that it's available really everywhere. Yeah, so as I said, ripple effect. You do one thing and somebody reads it and that leads to something else. So I think that's sort of the exciting part of all of this.
Right. And all our books are available on Amazon. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna slide out. Yeah, let's slide this. Okay. So I want to show them. Oops. Excuse us. Okay. See if I can edit that out. But yeah. Strange Women. I don't know the lighting. Can you hold that? Yeah. Okay. It's flipped because it's. But anyway, Strange Women, The Perfect Girl. They're still available on Amazon.com, and hers is in Keswick bookstore in Nairobi. And this is Fall Into Happy. No, it's not available in hard copy. But I promise you, I was supposed to have the second part. Actually, I forgot to mention that. Falling Into Happy 2. That's the working title. Was supposed to come out in May. Sorry guys, that's not happening. But in June I will deliver, okay? And then the hard copy will be following shortly after. The hard copy will just be a combination of the first two parts of Falling Into Happy and Falling Into Happy 2, and then a little epilogue for everyone. And so what I will do is perhaps release that epilogue on my website, storysshewrote.com, which is up right now. It's up right now. I'm still putting content, but it's up there. And I'll release the epilogue so that people who bought both Kindles can have access to the epilogue. They don't have to buy the hard copy to get, the entire book together, if you see what I'm saying. So, any last words? Do we have any questions that I neglected to ask you?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, guys.